Hello everyone, welcome to a different kind of video. I know usually I do DSP videos or Anita Sarkeesian videos or whatever, but I wanted to do a video on Venomous Fatty because he has a YouTube channel. His YouTube channel is Jake James Lugo, and obviously he kind of works at IGN as well. I've heard, and so on. So when he made this video in response to Video Game Dunkey's video about video game critics, I kind of agree with what Video Game Dunkey has to say in that you kind of have to look at reviews with a grain of salt. They don't really depending on the reviewer. There's no unified voice in IGN, for example. One person could give it a review for Sonic and say, "Oh, it's a great game," and then later on they'll say, "Oh, it's a piece of shit." There's a lot of contradictory there. Now the thing that you'll see in this is that Venomous Fatty kind of misses the point. Video Game Dunkey said, and he could have made a better response, because the one thing I will say about Video Game Dunkey is that people's opinions do change over time. I liked Spider-Man 3 when I first saw it, and then when I saw it again, it was terrible. I hated that movie. You can have an updated opinion on something years down the line, but it just blows my mind that that's not a train of thought that Venomous Fatty had. So let's see what Venomous Fatty has to say. Oh, it's a great intro. This intro is a little criticism. It's kind of dated. This kind of intro I would expect in 2009 for YouTube. I mean, no one does these kind of intros anymore. But whatever, let's continue.
Hey, what's going on everybody out there? I'm Jake James Lugo and welcome to the channel. And it's amazing to me how in such a short time span that something could prove my point almost to a T. What we're going to talk about in this vlog today was something I touched on not too long ago in one of my previous vlogs. There'll be links in the description box below or annotations here on the video and such. But again, it's just amazing to me how this is still a thing even now in 2017. Granted, there's a lot of discussions to be had about the gaming industry, about video game criticism, about outlets big and small. It's just crazy to me that we keep going back to the exact same thing with us here in the gaming community. Not just as far as the media people, but just everybody in there. Consumers, critics, people that are on YouTube, people on Twitch, streaming, or a whole bunch of different places. But we keep going back to the exact same stuff that I just commented on not too long ago. But anyway, let's get right into it. And this is a video response to a Video Game Dunkey that just put up a video not too long ago about game critics and why he doesn't like game critics and such. There'll be links in the description box below to the video.
I am kind of impartial to game critics, but I generally just don't listen to their reviews that much. I only look at game critics just to kind of get a general idea, but I don't really base a purchase off what they say. I just see what their opinion is, and that's it. I don't really take much inspiration from them. I mostly just judge it by just how I feel about a game. For Persona 5, for example, I think I've said it in another video or whatever, but I want to check out JRPG because I wanted to get back into it. See if I really do like JRPG. See if my taste has changed since I was younger. And and I went to Best Buy, and Persona 5 had this very nice tin case, and that was just enough to get me interested. It's kind of a silly reason, but I like the presentation of the case, and the game had a very good presentation. I've seen some of the gameplay stuff, and it looked very interesting. So I checked it out, and I love the game. I really love that game, and it was the same thing with Nier Automata. That when I played the demo of it, I just knew I loved it. I knew it was love at first sight for that game. So I don't really look at video game reviewers to kind of base a review. So that's my opinion, so there you go.
Itself. That way you guys could get some context to what I'm talking about. I got a whole bunch of points here that I listed right here on my computer that I'm going to touch on because there's just so many things that I not only take a little bit of issue with, but I...
See, this is going to be a kind of a critique on Venomous Fatty's how he makes videos. He takes so long to get to the point. So long. He's making a response to Video Game Dunkey, and the information's in the title, and it's a minute and 17 seconds in, and he's just like, well, we go back to this point, and I'm going to talk about this point, but we go back to this point, and it's something that needs to be talked about. It's so important. Let me just talk about it, but it's very important that we need to talk about this. It's like, who fucking cares at this point? Just get to it.
I fundamentally disagree with, because I feel like it's not being genuine, and it's not being, giving due diligence to both sides
It's
of the
not being
equation here.
genuine. He's DSPing this video pretty badly by just throwing these buzzwords out like due diligence, just disingenuine or whatever. Like I don't really think Video Game Dunkey's video was disingenuous uh or anything like that. I don't really agree with that, because when I heard it, it's something that sounds like basically what normal gamers feel, because we always go back to this conversation about we do always have these long people do talk about how they don't trust IGN as reviewers. They don't like IGN as a review source. They don't like reviews in general, because it's odd how it's reviewed half the time, like how easily they give 9s and 10s to certain games, but then when it's a game that's a little more obscure or niche, it kind of has a harder they're more critical of. It's just weird how they look at it. Like Call of Duty is the same game every year. How is that game getting 8s and 9s? It's just it doesn't make sense. And it's not like what DSP says where the reviews are falling for the hype. I just feel that to a degree there is some level of bias in game reviewers, especially mainstream reviewers. On YouTube, you have more of a spectrum of reviewers, and I kind of trust some YouTube reviewers a little bit more, because you get a more of an opinion from them. That's why I kind of stopped watching Zero Punctuation, because he focuses on the negatives, and it's kind of fun to watch his videos, but I don't really go to him to get I go there to see how bad a game can be, sure, but I go to other YouTubers just to kind of see how the game is. I don't really go to GameSpot, IGN, or anything like that, because they're just they're not very good sources to me to go by, because they're very just kind of mainstream. They're just kind of, they go just by what they think would be a safe purchase, and that's kind of what you get from IGN and GameSpot. They give you games that are safe. They don't give you games that are too like over the top amazing or anything. They give some good reviews here and there, but it's just overall, from what I've seen with IGN and GameSpot, that kind of made me stop watching their reviews. Is just that they give you safe games to play.
As someone that's both as a YouTuber here on YouTube, again on this channel, that does vlogs about gaming and such, but also does video game reviews as a professional, as someone that actually writes.
Yeah, okay, like, who cares? Get to the point. Like, well, I write reviews. I do this. I run this channel. Like, okay. Good for you. Good for you, Venomous Fat Man.
About games, who does guides and different types of stuff for both big and small websites. I feel like I have a grand overview and a much better perspective on a lot of stuff.
See, this is what I hate. This is the kind of shit that DSP is also guilty of, in a way. You run a channel. Yeah, this guy gets like thousands of views. These reviews are kind of low for a person who does publication and journalism, sure, whatever. But to say like, well, I do this, so my opinion on things is very, very well versed and very informative. Like, you're giving a fucking opinion. The opinion will speak for itself. You can go with your own experiences, with your own opinion, and that's fine. But you don't have to like dress up your opinion before giving the opinion. It just kind of comes up that he doesn't have much. He's not very secure with his opinion. He's not. He does, like that. That's what it comes off as, and it's kind of annoying to sit through and to do this. It's like if I say before in every single video when I do a DSP video or whatever. Well, I have a YouTube channel. I get low views, so I know how it is to get low views on videos. So I think I can have a good opinion on low views and this and that. Like you guys would just say fuck you and leave, because who fucking cares? Who fucking cares about that? Who cares what you do? Because if this guy is such a well-versed person, it's gonna reflect that regardless. People who watch him should know. Oh, he's this guy. He's from this place. Whatever. You don't need to tell us that. Oh, you're a reviewer. Oh, you review things. Oh, you work for publications. Wow.
These discussions than what somebody might just have just looking at it from the YouTuber perspective that's just uploading to their channel. Now, this isn't to put down anybody. This isn't to put down.
But I also hate that idea as well. That like Let's hear that again, actually.
Involving these discussions than what somebody might just have just looking at it from the YouTuber perspective that's just uploading to their channel. Now, this isn't to put down anybody, this isn't to put down Dunkey himself, but let's go through some of these different things that I want to discuss on as far as like points that he brought up in his video.
That he said like, well, we should listen to people who work in videos and all this instead of like this group of people, which is fucking dumb. If people have an opinion, they have every right to that opinion. I don't know. Let's continue.
Again, if you haven't seen it already, again, there's links in the description box below. But if you just want to kind of get to the meat and the potatoes of everything here, let's just dive right into it. So one of my biggest problems.
It only took him 2 minutes to do that. 2 minutes and 11 seconds to get into the body of his argument. Get straight to the point. Like, okay, we're gonna go to Video Game Donkey's video. Okay, we're gonna go to that video. Where's? Okay, all right. Let's go to his video.
Game critics fucking suck, right, guys?
Yeah. Right to the point. Right to the point. We're like 4 seconds and immediately he starts off what the fucking video is about. Game critics suck, and then it goes this. Yeah, it's not like very informative, but it gives you the idea of what he's gonna be fucking talking about. Here, it took him like 2 minutes just to get started. Just.
See, YouTube Comments agrees with me, and we already know that YouTube Comments is the premier location for intellectual gaming critiques harboring only the most cutting-edge scholars, such as middle schooler Connor. But what separates this guy from this guy? Well, this guy gets paid to say stupid shit. The first issue I have with gaming outlets is how their opinions are so decentralized. When you have multiple writers working on a website, you can lose track of who's actually talking.
Breathe easy, Sonic fans.
Yeah, see, I do agree with that, because when before I knew there were actually different writers, like, when I watched a video reviewer, the guy who's talking is not the same guy who wrote the review, and that part always confused me. I did not know that, because they use the same narrator in every video review. It's weird, but whatever. Let's continue.
That I keep going back to, that I've said in my previous vlog, and I'll say it again because at least in that vlog it was touching on more with the GameSpot review of Crash Bandicoot.
He's talking more about this. Just go to the point. Get to the point. Get to the point.
Same trilogy is that so many people, including Dunkey himself, just tries to demonize one entire outlet, or just an entire outlet,
They're
or
not
just
demonizing them though. In Dunkey's video, he's not saying like IGN is the worst. They need to go under. They need to go down. Fuck those assholes. No, he's just giving a criticism of video game journalism from his perspective, because video game journalism really has exploded to the point where it's filled with a lot of people that think that they're making such life-changing articles. You're talking about video games. Yeah, it's fine to report on like video game news and all that stuff, which makes sense. It makes sense. That does make sense. But like, you're talking about video games. It's just, there's no need to like put a lot of weight into what you're doing with that career. Like, not necessarily that, but like, I mean, there's merit in the work, but it's not like, IGN is being told that their reviews suck. Oh my god, we need to fucking defend them and white knight IGN. Their reviews can suck subjectively. Anyone can either like IGN or dislike IGN. It's not about like, well, everyone who's shitting on IGN is not giving IGN a fair shake. A lot of people have every right to complain about them, because they state their opinion. If they just have mindless hate for them and they have no fucking reason for it, that's different. But when people say, I don't like IGN because I don't think that their reviews are actually fair and reflect the actual product that they're reviewing, that's fine. That makes sense. I mean, it's why some people also dislike the Nostalgia Critic. Some people think that his reviews are kind of nitpicky, or that they're just very try hard to be negative or whatever. Everyone has their own opinions on things. Just because people dislike IGN doesn't mean that they hate IGN and they want video game critics to fail. It's just that it's a issue, that they feel that they have.
All of the games media as a whole for the opinions of one person. It's crazy how we keep going back to this exact same thing. It's like talking to a child, where it's like, listen, that's just one person's opinion. How you gonna demonize?
But like, Video Game Dunkey had more than one example. He listed a lot of examples with other reviewers and talked about how other reviewers can be annoying. Like, one of the first points is how decentralized video game editing is. How when you go to a review, you don't know who's talking, and that can like throw off the whole opinion. Like, he gives examples for this, and instead of just talking about that, he's just focusing on the general point of him using IGN as an example, or him talking about IGN. Like, he's not focusing on the bigger picture here.
And put that whole weight on everybody that's at that particular outlet just because of that one person's review that you fundamentally disagree with. It's not that everybody at the outlet has that same opinion. It's just one person that just wrote that one review. And this is the thing that kind of keeps coming up in his video, and he really kind of picks on IGN here. And I understand it, and I really believe it's not just to make a point. I think it's also to get a rise out of everybody and kind of jump up.
It's more than, it's not just, it's, hold on. Did he say it's more than just a point, or did he say, like,
the fad just to make a video? And he really kind of picks on IGN here, and I understand it, and I really believe it's not just to make a point. I think it's also to get a rise out of everybody.
He picked IGN because it's the most common fucking criticism. Everyone criticizes IGN. I've never seen one person defend IGN, as far, like, even back in the days of game trailers forums. Everyone there fucking hated IGN. They made joke like that. Where do you think the joke, oh, you can't spell ignorant without IGN comes from? Everyone hates IGN. A lot of people didn't like game trailers when they made reviews as well. People didn't like GameSpot. People did not like XPlay as well. A lot of people complain about these reviewers because because of their own reasons. They don't go to IGN because it's a fad. That makes no fucking sense. Okay.
And kind of jump on the fad that it's okay to hate on IGN because they're probably the biggest outlet in our industry right now. Again, full disclosure, I've written stuff for IGN before. I've written guides for them before. Again, links in the description box below if you really just want to look at.
Oh my god, this guy he plugs himself more than DSP. That's not what you want to do with your life. Oh my god, man. Just because you've written walkthroughs for IGN, like it's just, get the fuck out of here! Come on.
All that stuff. I'm not apologetic, and I'm not secretive.
You're defending IGN. You got so triggered over Video Game Dunkey talking about IGN that you made a video criticizing Dunkey with like these general criticisms. He not at all hit any point in the video completely or thoroughly, for that matter. He just kind of looked at it at a glance. He probably like watched the video once and then just kind of went with his gut instinct instead of just really digesting the video. Like, when I reviewed Ruby Volume 3, I watched that Volume 3 times. Yeah, 2 to 3 times, just so that I could understand where my points are coming from. I missed one point in my review, and I think I even had I re-recorded because of it, where I didn't see that Yang's arm was cut off in Volume 3, and that blew my mind when her arm was cut in the following scene. And then when I watched the show again, it's like, oh, that's where she lost her arm. Okay, because if I just went with one viewing of a video and just went from there, you don't get a lot of understanding of it. And I did get criticisms of that with other videos. Like, I did a video on Jonathan McIntosh where someone said, Theo, I see where you're coming from, but you really should have watched the video 2 times before you made a response to it. And I was like, he brings up a good point. I should have done that. And that's what I do. That's almost what I do generally with most videos, unless it's DSP. DSP videos I don't really care that much about. But when it's like a video that's like more thoughtful, like this is the second time I'm watching this video. I mean, it's been a while since I saw it the first time. I saw that week that he uploaded this, and I saw Video Game Dunkey's the same day. So I don't really have a good recollection of either that well. But it's just the general idea of this video on its own is just kind of bad on its own. Like, he just makes bad arguments. He makes bad arguments to defend IGN, and he's like shilling his own work in the same video. Like, Okay.
the stuff that I've done. And I'm going to get to why in just a bit. But the thing is like he's picking on this outlet, okay, or just picking on IGN or just bigger outlets in general, just on the simple fact that it's the in thing amongst a lot of people for whatever reason to hate on the bigger outlets. It's not because they're doing anything specifically wrong. There's always these different arguments that he points out in his video, and a lot of other people throw out there on the internet in forums and tweets and all other forms of video, and a lot of other people throw specifically wrong. There's always these different arguments that he points out in his video, and a lot of other people throw out there on the internet in forums.
Different arguments? They're fucking points. They're multiple criticisms about IGN. It's not like... Oh my god.
And tweets and all other forms of social media, that just because a particular person from a bigger outlet has an opinion, immediately either they're paid off, they just didn't like the game, they want to...
Because, like, video game reviewers being paid off has been an issue that's been ongoing. It's... No one really, like, thought about it until, like, that whole thing with Jeff Gerstmann, I think that's his name, with Kane Lynch. He gave it a less than favorable review. GameSpot fired him because they were like, well, they gave us a lot of free shit and all this, and you know this, and you gave them like a that score. Yeah, okay, you're fired. And they made a new review of it that gave it a higher score, and since then people were like, holy fuck, you know, game. I mean, it also might have been a little bit before that. People started to realize that video game publishers are paying out reviewers, like giving early advance copies. And that's the thing. Like, a lot of people complain about Bethesda for not giving advance copies. And I'm in the middle of that. I'm in the middle of most of these arguments. But the thing is with that is I can understand on a consumer level that, you know, how can you trust a reviewer if they get the game early? Because they might just, you know, praise the game because they were able to get it early. But at the same time, you know, reviewers have a lot of like games to review, and it does benefit them sometimes to get the game in advance. So I understand that. I understand how some reviewers feel about with advanced copies, and I understand the consumer side of it, but I just feel that, you know, with good reviewers, the why I go to YouTube a lot, and I go to a lot of YouTube reviewers, is that it shouldn't matter when you upload the review for it to be good. You know, like, if I'm already on the fence of it, I'm waiting for a review to kind of sway me one way or the other, I'll be willing to wait until a person makes a review of that game. I'll be willing to wait. I'm not waiting for day one reviews, because, I mean, again, day one reviews are always a gamble, because you don't know if it's like a genuine review or not. So I don't mind waiting if someone's going to be working on a genuine review of a game. That doesn't bother me. I don't mind waiting for a review if it needs be. And I think that's what a lot of people like about YouTube reviewers more than these IGN posts, because a lot of these people have to go through a lot of games to upload them, and they need advanced copies. But, you know, you don't know how far these advanced copies are going to sway the review. See, it's a little mixed on that. Let's continue.
Have like some sort of vendetta against a particular publisher or the developers. There's all these different crazy reasons that have no kind of like basis to them. And everybody just keeps going right back to them, and yet we still haven't moved on beyond it. It's just crazy to me. One of the points that I have here is, again, there's always this idea of us versus them. It's this new media versus old media. We've seen this over the last few years, especially ever since the whole ordeal with Gamergate, and everybody kept going back to that for like the longest time. But it always goes back to this us versus them mentality. It's like,
when people criticize reviewers, we're not saying down with reviewers, fuck them, get rid of them, get rid of IGN, get rid of GameSpot. People are just asking for them to be more critical of games and giving more reasonable reviews, because these numbers awfully don't match what they're saying. It's the same issue that people have with DSP reviews, where, you know, in the body of the review, it sounds like he's gonna hate the game, he's gonna give it like a 5 out of 10, and then he gives it a 7. It's like, what the fuck? Or when it's like Dead Rising 4, where he praised it a lot, but then he gave it a 6.
everybody wants to bundle up in a group. Everybody wants to hate on a particular outlet because they feel like they were vexed. Okay, using the word vexed here to kind of like really illustrate the point
vexed.
that one particular person representing an outlet just didn't like their game and gave their honest opinion about it. They were chosen to write about the game and give their thoughts and opinions and stance and perspective on it. And automatically, that's indicative of the entire outlet. That's indicative of the fall of old media all of a sudden. I never liked that type of mentality. I never liked that type of thinking because I always felt that it was very destructive, it was very divisive amongst a lot of people, and it never really kind of started a discussion. It never really gave the
But it does have a discussion. There is a discussion about it.
The ability for everybody just to discuss games as a whole. Immediately, everybody gets mad at Callie Plaguey or at IGN because she said in one of her reviews for, I believe it's Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, because there was too much water, quote unquote. That's what everybody goes back to with that particular outlet.
What the fuck does that mean? Too much water? Like when I read that, I was like, what the fuck? Like, even if the criticism made sense, she should have written that point better.
Or at least that particular review. The point that she was trying to make is that the whole game is designed to use surf, and again, getting around the entire area that's within the game, using the ability to surf. There's all this water, like watery kind of like themed areas around it. That's what she was trying to make.
But that's not the whole game. I bet I haven't played those games, but I'm more willing to believe that those are just probably like little segments of the game, like, you know, when you go to a certain area that is water themed, because Nintendo does a lot of levels that are themed around certain things. So that point is fucking retarded to begin with, because fans of Pokemon, or anyone in general, can understand, oh, well, there's water here, we need to go this, and it's not an issue, it's not a fucking criticism. So, like, it makes no sense because they give you an option to fucking surf and to, like, move around. I don't know. I've never played those games. Maybe, you know, it's not as controllable when you're surfing in that game, but, like, I remember in the old games when you had to go through the water, you just surfed and no one complained. Whatever.
Make was it the point with it? At least she written that out, okay, in her actual review. My point is this. It's like all those different people, not just Dunkey, but in a lot of other different places on YouTube and social media, always want to cherry pick different things to turn it into an us versus them mentality.
Cherry pick to make it us versus them. No, people are just reacting to certain parts of that review that stood out to them that really devalued the review. It's like if I reviewed Persona 5, said, you know, Persona 5 is a great game. I really liked it. It was really enjoyable, but, you know, the whole thing with Mementos is just pretty shitty. It's too much driving around. I don't like driving. Fuck that. Too much driving. Just get rid of Mementos entirely. There's too much dialogue in it. You know, just trim it. Turn-based, get rid of that. Make it more action. Turn-based is archaic. Like, if I said that in a review and gave it like a 7 out of 10, I'd probably get slammed for it, saying like, Mementos makes sense because you need a area to grind, and it just kind of is a place where you can do in downtime when you're going between palaces. If you have things to do, you have Mementos to go around and leveling up and getting personas to fuse or whatever. You have things to do in Mementos. It's a story-centric game, so of course there's gonna be a lot of dialogue. Oh my god, the review is terrible. There's a lot of dialogue because it's a story-centric game. You know, it's turn-based because that's the style of the game that wants to make, etc., etc. Like that, these are the kind of things that people stand out, because how can you take a reviewer seriously if it's just missing the entire point of the game? That's what a lot of people complain about, because when you read a review and they're missing the point of the game, then how can you take that review seriously? Like, you just can't do that. And it's, to a degree, like, that's why I don't like about DSP's reviews either, or any other reviews, is that you can't compare a game to another game. You can compare it to a game in the same series, sure, and you know, if it's a sequel, you can say, well, unlike the first game, it adds this or something. Okay, that's fine, or it takes away this or whatever. But to compare it to other games, I just think that's kind of dumb. A game in and of itself should be able to stand on its own as to be presented. Yeah, the story might not be able to like satisfy people who are just getting into it, for example, like Metal Gear, but you know, the game can stand on its own in its quality.
should not be the case. If anything, both people that consider themselves new media and people that consider themselves old media should really be trying to come together and work together on stuff. Not only to start up a discussion, but to make better content on both sides.
Yeah, but if they work together, that might impose on their freedom of what they want to speak. That's what a lot of people are very skeptical. Like look at this guy. He works for IGN, so immediately a lot of people are kind of questioning his opinion and his points, and like, well, is he really being genuine in this video because he works for IGN, and obviously he doesn't want to lose his job, because what if he says, like, what if he agrees with Video Game Dunkey? That's kind of why I feel like he should have made this video to begin with, because it's a uphill battle, because you have to convince the viewer that knows he works for IGN that his opinion is genuine and it's not swayed by his employer. It's that kind of shit that, like, you know, do you really want to trust someone that has a hand on you? Like, oh, this review is powered by IGN. And it's like, okay, but like, why do you need the cooperation? If a person can make a review on its own very well, why would he need to collaborate with IGN or GameSpot for his review?
I don't see a lot of people, granted there are on both sides of the equation, but I don't see a lot of people that consider themselves old media, or people that are part of bigger websites, or even medium and smaller sized websites that aren't necessarily people uploading to YouTube and streaming games on Twitch or wherever else have you, really taking shots at the other side. It's always on the flip side back to the old media. It's new media versus old media, because it seems like that's the in thing amongst their audiences.
Because they have the bigger sway. Those, like IGN, GameSpot, and all the are very generic, typical websites. It's like, it's kind of like looking at like Metacritic, or it's like looking at like the New York Times for movie reviews or whatever. Like, some people in the New York Times might have a different opinion. That's why I don't look at movie reviews. Like, same with the Oscars. Because a lot of people go to see movies that are nominated for the Oscars, but it's like the Oscars have a lot of agendas that they want to push. Like, I really didn't think that the Revenant deserved an Oscar at all. I don't think that movie was that great. I'm sure someone's gonna shit at me for that opinion, but okay. I didn't think Dallas Buyers Club was that good. I think there were a lot of better movies that just got robbed from these other basic movies, because the Oscars want to come off as we're very progressive. We understand your issues and all this stuff, and it's just you're just talking about fucking movies. Just pick a movie that's good. You don't the movie doesn't have to be a political movie or a movie that has something to say. If the movie is good, it deserves the Oscar. Like the animated movie Anomalisa is a very good movie. It's one of my favorite animated movies. It's stop motion animation, and that movie got robbed because I think it was up against Frozen, and Frozen won. Okay, Frozen's a good movie, good for Frozen, but Anomalisa is such a better fucking movie. So when people are going after GameSpot or IGN, they're not going after it because, oh, well, we want to fuck them over, fuck that media. They're going after them because they have the bigger sway, and they have very biased opinions, and it's just the same shit. Every time I buy a game that's praised by IGN or GameSpot, I get fucking disappointed by those games.
It's the in thing amongst people in the comments section. It's the in thing amongst people that are just so upset at one particular outlet or many particular outlets for their own opinions that are being put out there.
This is the same shit that DSP tries to peddle over on his fans. Oh, the detractors only hate me because it's the cool thing to do. It's what they do. It's how they get their jollies. It's the meme. It's a fad. And it's like, no, people fucking criticize them because they have criticisms.
Their way of getting back at them, and that should not be the case. That shouldn't be the case with anybody, especially with a channel that has over 3 million subscribers. Not only do I feel like you should know better, but I feel like you should have a better perspective, not only with a wider, diverse range of people.
So we should give people the benefit of the doubt, or give them a bigger voice because they have a lot of subscribers and a lot of views. Okay, fair enough, because that means that a lot of people like their videos and all that, but that doesn't automatically mean they have a point. Like, It doesn't mean that, oh, well, they're obviously the best. I mean, come on.
People that are your audience, that you're following and stuff, but also feel like you should try to do better for them. You should actually try to.
I like this corny ass music. It sounds very depressing. Like he was just crying about Video Game Donkey's video. So I don't know. This video is weird. This music is very odd.
Actually, give them better information, actually look at things in a complete whole, as like a full scope of stuff, and not just because you feel like one particular person is wrong, that automatically because of their particular points, that you're better than that entire outlet, that you're better than that individual, and that everybody should pay attention to your stuff simply because you're throwing insults at the other side. That's totally wrong and totally messed up. And again, we keep going back to that constantly. It's never really been solved. It's like everybody in the gaming community, not just people that are working.
How about maybe like when gamers make this discussion, why don't the reviewers respond? Why don't they reply back? I mean, they don't have to sit there and be like, "Oh, fucking idiots in the stream chat saying things," but like they could have explained their process better, or maybe they should just fucking listen to the criticisms and look at the criticisms and try to see and see their perspective, because like if it's dumb to just say that, well, they're constantly attacking IGN. IGN is not attacking them, so why are they attacking IGN? It's like, well, they're not attacking them. They're just giving their criticisms. They're saying that how can they keep making these reviews that have these very like ridiculous points, and like I've seen multiple ridiculous points made by IGN. So you're telling me that you know, they should be the ones that should be starting the discussion, not the people who are reading their fucking opinions. They already started their discussion by making the review to begin with. People are just reacting to their reviews and just voicing their opinions of it. So the dialogue is already there. It's just that none of these reviewers are really responding to it or doing anything about these criticisms.
Industry, but people that are just general consumers, or people that go online on forums with the internet, quote unquote, the internet itself, are just never going to get over that, or just never going to move past that, or never going to really evolve or just mature enough to kind of keep the conversation going in a much better direction. It's always got to be shouting matches on both sides and hurling insults, and it's stupid to me. Okay.
But IGN isn't throwing insults back, and obviously, yeah, on the internet you're gonna get a lot of people that are gonna be throwing insults naturally, but you know, you can always ignore them and look at the ones that actually are well written. Like when I get comments on my videos, I know immediately what opinions to actually read and respond to, like thoughtfully, or at least with somewhat respect. When I see someone saying like, "Oh my god, you're a virgin, dude. Oh my god, you're a fucking asshole. Fuck you, get a life," I'm not gonna take that comment seriously. If I see someone say like, "Okay, but Theo, like, you know, I think there's an issue with the detractors for doing this. I think there's an issue with DSP doing that, or whatever," I'll actually read that, and I might either like respond to it in a thoughtful way, or just respond to it in general, or take it seriously. But I'm not gonna sit there and be like, "Well, no one's talking. I guess no one really wants to have a discussion because I saw one comment or a few or multiple comments and throwing insults at me." Like of course there's gonna be those people out there. You just have to kind of you kind of have to read to find the actual criticisms, which takes a lot of work. That's why a lot of people say don't bother with YouTube comments, because you're just gonna get a lot of crazy stuff. Even Dunkey kind of makes a jab at YouTube comments.
Now, there's a couple other stuff that I want to throw in here, like some things that he just got wrong in his video, and I feel like was really disingenuous with the way that it was being presented. One of the things that he showed was their IGN's outlook on Sonic the Hedgehog. I don't think a lot of people over at IGN really like Sonic the Hedgehog for a variety.
They gave it an 8. Look, they don't like IGN. They don't like IGN. They don't like Sonic. Classic Sonic levels, great levels. Tough last boss. I don't know why that's a fucking negative, but okay. No co-op. Well, okay. 8 out of 10. Impressive. I don't think anyone in IGN likes Sonic the Hedgehog. Okay.
Different reasons. That doesn't mean to say that everybody over there really hates that franchise. Pretty sure there's a couple people, at least maybe 3, 4, 5 people in there that actually like Sonic for one reason or another. But the way it's always presented, not just in Dunkey's video, but with a lot of other people's videos, is that IGN as an outlet has a vendetta against that franchise. And I don't think that's the case. But
it's not about the franchise. That's not why he brought it up. He brought it to illustrate a point. How one person in IGN can say the game's an 8 out of 10, and then someone in IGN is saying, "Yeah, it's a terrible game. I don't like Sonic anymore. Sonic is dead." It's so fucking jarring to see two different opinions in the same fucking outlet. Like, again, this is what, at this part of the video, I sat there like, I'm surprised he did not go with the whole hindsight argument. He could have easily just said that, well, people at IGN can say that they liked the game when they played it, and then when they reviewed it, they liked the game. Then years later, they started to like lose interest in the game, and they started to not like the game as much as they did when they initially reviewed it. That would be a better argument to make, or a better point to make, actually, I should say, a point to make, because that happens to everyone. Everyone plays a game, likes the game when they first play it, and then when they look back on it, or when they play it, or when they replay it, they might see issues pop up again. I liked MGS4 when I first played it. I love that game. Now when I play it again, I start seeing issues with that game. I start having criticisms with that game. And same with every other game I have played. That's why I really like games that still hold up to me. Like, if I could play a game, and so it's like, well, it's just as good as I remember, it's if not better. Those are the games I really like, and those are the games that are really good games. Not games that are like, oh, they're good at launch, and then when I play it like a month later, it's like, fuck this game, you know? Like, it's
one of the things I really thought was disingenuous was that he was showing Damon Hatfield actually narrating over a Sonic the Hedgehog 4 episode 1 review, and then later on in a Game Scoop, where it's that infamous Game Scoop episode that people always point to, saying that this is why IGN hates Sonic the Hedgehog, because all of them are talking about it. But I think just individually as a person, Damon just never really liked Sonic the Hedgehog. But on top of that, what really seems to be lost on people is that Damon and a bunch of those other personalities at that website narrate the video versions of some of the reviews that other people write. So just because one person liked Sonic the Hedgehog and they wrote it, doesn't necessarily mean that that was Damon that actually wrote that review. No. How do I know?
Oh my god. This guy is so fucking dumb. I guarantee he made this because he was salty about fucking Dunkey's video being so popular that he made this out of a knee-jerk reaction. He did not look at the points because, again, the point isn't that the guy who talked about the review likes the review that hates it. It was about the guy who wrote it, who praised the game, gave it an 8, and then another guy within the same company said it sucks. Oh my god, how do you miss the point this bad? 9 minutes in, he missed the point. This guy works for IGN. No wonder they fucking suck.
I actually went and I looked at the original review, not just the video, I looked at the written one, because I've gone through this process myself in the past. With my review that I did on IGN, I did it for Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 4. Again, links in the description box if you actually...
Let's look at his review, okay? Let's take a look at this. Naruto, the hot game that everyone likes. Oh, should we listen to it? I guess we should. Oh, there's our boy on side there. Oh, an advertisement. Wow. We don't need that. What? Fix it out. Oh my god, fucking, really? You're gonna play ads? Skip ads. Fuck you.
I have a love-hate relationship with Naruto Shippuden Ultimate...
He's talking, but I thought he said that the people who narrate the review is not the same as the person who wrote the review. Oh my god, man, I'm fucking confused now, man.
Ninja Storm 4. I expected lots of intense action and characters, and to its credit, Storm 4 delivers. On the
Okay, fuck it. We're just gonna go straight to the points. I got bored already. He has such a boring voice. 5 out of 10. 3 character fights, large roster, poor AI, shallow adventure mode, connection issues. The connection issues could be fixed though. Okay, whatever. Okay, now that he gave it a 5. Actually, let's
on the other hand, even the best combat system in the world would be wasted if there are no worthy opponents to be found.
Did you think mere trees could stop me? I'm coming down on you!
That's not to say that this combat is the best. but it is pretty strong. Fights are fast and fierce, and are treated like major events by way of plenty of cinematic camera angles and powerful jutsu moves at your disposal. The controls are simple and the most responsive of the Storm games to date. What I liked most, however, was the ability to switch between your active fighter and 2 support characters on the fly by moving the right analog stick. That isn't always needed though, because the AI opponents have a bad habit of falling into a repetitive cycle of constantly evading and annoyingly spamming ranged attacks. That's made even worse by the way some areas of the story mode give enemies a huge edge by increasing their damage. That just feels cheap. I was also let down by the poor presentation of the brief story mode, which is told mostly through these long montage cutscenes instead of anime clips. It wasn't until later in the story that Storm 4 switches to in-game cutscenes, which look much better. Even then though, the lip syncing is off on both the Japanese and English audio tracks. At least the end of the story mode hints at what may come next for Naruto and his friends in an exciting way. After that comes Adventure Mode, which is just an obligatory retelling of key events from the early parts of the series. With more of the same AI troubles and nothing new to see by way of the story, it feels like it could be skipped entirely without missing anything. Multiplayer in Storm 4 is great, as long as you're playing locally. There are a bunch of different competitive modes to explore, along with 61 playable characters with varying attacks, jutsu moves,
it doesn't sound like it deserved a 5. It sounds like he was going to give it like a 7 or an 8. And he gave it a 5. Okay, I mean, like, it didn't sound like a 5 to me, but whatever. Okay, James.
You want to see it. When I did the video version of that review, I actually narrated it because I wanted to go through that process. I wanted to kind of experience it and actually really put my all into that review. But that isn't always the case with everybody. There's one reason or another why that might not be possible. So that's why they get some of their personalities over there, some of their employees, some of the full-time people that work at that outlet.
Maybe what IGN should be doing is having the people who wrote the review do the video review instead of just doing these celebrity voiceover shit. Just fucking have the guy who wrote the review do the video of it, because, like, if I wrote a review, I would really want to do the video of it, because I like that, because I'm proud of my work, and I want to demonstrate my work that I put into. Why would I not want to do the video review? So maybe that's what IGN should do.
To narrate on the video versions of those reviews. It'll say on the bottom there, narrated by such and such, but written by such and such. It's not always that particular person that's saying the words that's necessarily
their review.
their
He's
review.
kind of talking to the viewer as if he's a fucking idiot, like, oh, you know, he acts like DSP. Well, okay, guys. Obviously, when someone's narrating the fucking review, okay, is not the same as fucking the written review, okay? I did the video doesn't mean I did the writing of it. God, come on.
Now, that's not an excuse whatsoever for whatever it is or whatever opinion that outlet, IGN or otherwise, has on a particular game. But I do think it's kind of messed up that this is another thing that everybody keeps going back to without any kind of like founded information that's really solid or really kind of like no reasoning behind it. It's just that they feel like they just don't like the opinions of that particular outlet of Sonic the Hedgehog. So it's like they're
he's a fucking professional. I'm hearing noises in the background in his fucking video. And he's... Oh my god. Great.
Cherry picking all these little things all of a sudden, again, to go back to that us versus them mentality, to show reasons why they're not legitimate despite them being the biggest outlet in the industry.
Just because they're fucking big does not mean that they're legit, you fuck. That's like saying DSP is the most genuine, real motherfucker on the internet because he has 180 fucking subs on YouTube. Does that make any fucking sense? This guy is conditioned to talk like... DSP conditioned a guy that works on fucking IGN to think like him. That's fucking dangerous. That's how dangerous DSP's fucking logic is, guys. You could be the next Venomous Fat Man if you listen to DSP 24/7 and believe the fucking nonsense.
around for such a long time doing the exact same thing that they've always been doing, but now because one person with either a 3 million subscriber account or otherwise, because they're on YouTube, because they feel like they're doing things differently, automatically that invalidates everybody's opinions, plain and simple, because it's your opinion and you disagree with everybody. I'm not down with that mentality. I think it's wrong. I think it's very divisive.
But Dunkey just uploaded his own fucking review. A lot of people happen to agree with that review. Doesn't mean that they're just like, oh, he doesn't like IGN. Okay. Great video. Donkey could have said IGN sucks because they use the color red in their reviews, and that's dumb, and they use stupid font. No one would be like, Donkey has a point with that. Like, no. Like, he has a point because people have had that issue with reviewers to begin with, and it's... Did he not watch the fucking video?
It doesn't start a conversation. It really just causes people just to be on opposing sides and just for no apparent reason. Literally, that's it. There's no apparent reason. There's always going to be bad people on both sides. Like I keep saying, there's always going to be people on different types of extremes that do one thing or another.
There's people on both sides of the fence that can go in the extremes. No fucking shit. Wow. No way, man. No way. I mean... What an earth-breaking concept.
That you're not always going to agree with. While I kind of consider myself as, like, again, a games media person, a games critic that isn't really necessarily a YouTuber, I still understand both sides of the equation. I've done and dabbled in both, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people over there have as well. And with me personally,
That doesn't matter. DSP is a game critic. Does that mean that he understands how to review fucking games? No. I review shit on my channel. Does that mean that I know shit about reviewing and the issues with people and how they review and shit? No. That just everything just you have an opinion on something. Like, again, it's this mentality of, like, you know, when I did webcomics, like, a few years ago, and I used to do that, and I actually tried to do it, I thought, well, I understand the flow of story because I worked on a story, so I have a better understanding of how the flow of story goes more than anyone else because I made a story. It's like fuck you. You're not that fucking important. Like again, I do art and shit. That doesn't mean that I'm the fucking art critique of Picasso. I'm not like walking there like I know art, guys. I am an artist and I know what is and isn't art because I do art. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Always down with actually starting those conversations, learning from the opposite side, and actually trying to make better content and make better stuff overall with me as an individual. I'm not trying to throw mud, fling vegetables, and really stick it to the other side.
Oh, yeah, but you're
it's
just
just stupid to me, and I really don't get
but you're just playing the high ground fucking card, being like, what I'm talking about, I do reviews, I do this, I understand both sides of the argument, and both sides are wrong, but we should listen to IGN, because IGN might have a point on some things, and I don't really agree with Video Game Donkey's review. I just think it's just nonsense that, it's so condescending and pretentious to have this mentality, and that's kind of what annoys me about this video the most, and about Venomous Fatty. He's so fucking pretentious about his opinion. And the thing is that, like, I saw him play Tekken 7 with DSP, and the saddest thing about that was Venomous Fatty actually interacted more with DSP's chat than DSP did. And that's it. That's the only time. I think, again, like, I'm pretty sure Venomous Fatty is probably a chill guy in real life, and I'm sure he's not a bad person. I don't think he's a bad person per se. I just think that he has this just ridiculous opinion that I've seen people have when they're either young or when they just have, like, a channel that has, like, rising popularity. It's the kind of shit that happened with DSP, where he started doing YouTube, and then when he started getting more and more, like, popularity, he started to get more and more narcissistic. And I don't think he's necessarily narcissistic, but he keeps, like, dressing up his opinion on, I'm a game critic, I do this, I work with IGN, and this and that. It's like, when you have an opinion, no one gives a fuck about that, because if the opinion is something that's interesting and critical, that's gonna stand on its own, not who you are. Like, you know, like, I have opinions on all these people I do videos on. None of you, like, are coming here because I'm some celebrity. I'm not a fucking celebrity. I'm just some fucking guy with a fucking computer.
Yeah, why is it that some of these bigger channels or some of these individuals with huge channels and huge followings want to kind of perpetuate that? I'll really tell you what it is. It's really about people just getting views. That's just what it always comes back to, especially with people on the YouTube side and on the Twitch streaming side, because that's what gets a rise out of people. It's just, again, that's just something I've noticed over the years, and there's no other reason for it. Okay, if there is, put it in the comment section below. Explain it to me, because I keep seeing the same reasons thrown out there. Because they're not legitimate enough. They're not being diligent.
That's what blows my mind the most. That's really what I didn't understand. He uploaded a video about video game critics, and everyone on Twitter was like acting as if like Video Game Dunkey was like uploaded like. It's just an opinion. He just gave an opinion on video game critics. It's not the end of the world.
Their audiences, they're not being genuine with the way that they present their opinions. They're bigger.
And you completely misrepresented the entire argument that Dunkey made. You did not see any points that he made. You didn't even talk about it. He did not even talk about the fucking points he made. He just went with these generalistic opinions that aren't even in Dunkey's video. Oh, but he's not. But he is genuine, guys. He's being very genuine with his opinion. Okay.
Outlets, so they should know better. They're getting paid off and stuff, which we're going to address in just a bit again. But still, it's just insane to me how everybody gets caught up on the exact same stuff. So there's a couple other things I want to touch on. You know, one of the other things that I find weird is that he brings up this. What is it? He brings up these reasonings for one of this other movie critic. Okay, I'm trying to show it. Armand White, that he uses in Dunkey uses in his video.
Armand White said Man of Steel or Batman vs Superman was like the Citizen Kane of comic book movies. So that right there tells you how shitty he is.
Okay, comparing some of the reviews over at IGN and other bigger outlets like, again, Kotaku, Polygon, GameSpot, etc. Someone like Armand White. Now, Armand White, if you don't know who that is, that's a movie critic that actually does these crazy reviews where he has a lot of these outlandish opinions, and while he has supporting info to kind of like back up his claims, quote unquote, it really doesn't fall in the category of being really credible in a lot of circles that, again, review movies or critics of film, and it just, again, a lot of those people out there that put out content related to movies. The reason being is because a lot of his stuff and a lot of his reasoning is a little bit flawed. Or again, a lot of his rationale is really all over the place. This is a guy that's come out.
I think you're being too critical on him, Venomous Fat Man. I mean, he is just making a review. He has his own opinions. Why are you trying to make it us versus him? Why are you trying to go after Armand White, Venomous Fat Man? See, it could be turned around on that argument. It's amazing how he doesn't. He's so oblivious to that example that he kind of proves Dunkey's point by siding with him on it. But like, it's just he has criticisms that he even states, and that's what people are saying about IGN. They're stating criticisms. They're not going after IGN because it's the end thing to do.
Said that Man of Steel was the godfather of superheroes. Now, while that might be an opinion, you don't always have to agree with someone's opinion.
But it's an outlandish opinion. Even if the movie was good, and that would be an outlandish fucking opinion. Even if the movie was good. I like the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy that he did. Batman Begins, Batman Dark Knight, those movies. I don't think those were like some masterpieces of art that should be in like the fucking Smithsonian or some shit. But when you say a comic movie is as good as The Godfather, like it's just what?
To his opinion, and it's allowed to live out there in the ether.
Yeah, you can have an opinion, but it's a ridiculous opinion. That's probably the criticisms he gets, is that he makes ridiculous opinions. You can criticize an opinion. You can value an opinion. Like, I make a lot of opinions on a lot of things. And a lot of people tell me my opinions are shitty, or they're bad, or they're not valued opinions. A nice little job right there, but that doesn't mean that my opinion isn't necessarily an opinion, or that it's whatever. It just means that person has an opinion of my opinion. Welcome to the world, the Venomous Fat Man, where everyone has an opinion.
Was that why people don't find his opinions really credible? Is, again, his rationale is just all over the place and very flawed in the grand hindsight of stuff.
Yeah, a lot of people feel that way about me as well. I'm not crying about it. A lot of people think I make ridiculous opinions, or that I'm a little over the top with a lot of things I say. Okay, fair enough. I might be a little over the top. You know, okay, fair enough, but okay. You know, the best I can do is look at them like, okay, well, maybe I should try to tone it down a little bit. Maybe I should really put more thought than I am in putting into my opinions. Maybe I should word my opinions better. I got into a lot of flack with my opinion on the Devolver press conference at E3. I could have worded that better. I could have worded that better, to be honest. I think I might have been a little overzealous. That might be the word, or just a little over the top with that opinion. But I could have made that opinion better because I was trying to say that I think a lot of people are putting too much uh weight on that press conference. Like, a lot of people were just saying like, oh, you know, this doesn't do good for video games or whatever. And it's like, it's just a fucking press conference. Who fucking cares? But you know, it's okay, but that happens. A lot of people have these over ridiculous opinions. Everyone has every right to criticize that. A lot of people have, yeah, everyone has the right to criticize me for my opinions because my opinions may not be, you know, something that everyone has to agree with. I'm not expecting people to agree with me because they're opinions. Opinions are just as just as open for criticism as anything. Everything is open for criticism. Like, you can criticize the shirt I'm wearing. You can criticize the mug I have. You can criticize me drinking fucking seltzer water during my videos. You can criticize anything. Sure, it might be a little nitpicky in those criticisms, but they're still opinions.
My problem is that he's trying to compare that type of logic and that type of stuff that Armin White does with IGN and trying to say like this is what IGN really does with their reviews, which isn't the case. And I know this personally because I've done a review for IGN. I know what type of creative process that they go through when it comes to actually coming up with a score, really looking at a review objectively and giving some sort of feeling and giving some sort of emotion about how they feel about a game based off of those objective facts.
I wonder how he feels about DSP shitting on his reviews then.
When you actually play the game like that. Again, if you guys don't know who Dan Stapleton is one of the reviews editors over at IGN. He's the one that really oversees a lot of the reviews that get published on the website and assigns different people to review different games and stuff. He is probably one of the best processes when it comes to, or at least blueprints and guidelines to actually reviewing a game. More so in my personal opinion, again, my personal opinion, not fact, when it comes to reviewing games out there in the games media. I feel like it's the most diligent, it does the most for the audience, it does the most with covering all aspects of the games that are out there without really getting caught up on hyperbole, which is what I find a lot of different reviews tend to do. Not just on games media side of things and old media, but also on YouTube and also on new media side of things. Again, streaming, wherever else you want to consider new media. It's just, I feel like that's the best process for it. And having gone through that and having known about that, I can't agree with someone saying that all of a sudden all those reviews that IGN puts out there, especially the ones when he was pointing out about Call of Duty, tend to be very hyperbolic or have to have one reason or another why they are that particular score, other than the actual quality.
Because it shows how easy IGN just gives them those numbers. Yeah, okay, IGN can make a review of Call of Duty that makes sense for it to be a 9 out of 10, but it's just at the same time, it's the same fucking game every year. And to get a 9 out of 10 for doing the same fucking shit every year, like, come on. Come on, who are you fooling with that? And, like, how do you know that those opinions are legit? How do we know that they did not doctor or rig the review in quotations that to make it a 9 out of 10?
Quality of the game themselves and what that person is.
So you're telling me that when IGN gives it a 9 out of 10, they're still playing the game right now? Even if I give a game a 9 out of 10, that means I'm playing the game a lot. Like MGS5, I would give a 9 out of 10 because I play the game a lot. I still go back to that game time to time. Some people might disagree with that opinion. Fair enough. Everyone has their own reasons. But I give games that if I play the game once, I don't go back to it. It depends on the quality. Like, The Order is a piece of shit. I hate that game. I hate it. So there you go.
Getting from the game when they were actually experiencing it. Again, going back to every single one of these cherry-picked reasons of why IGN specifically or bigger games media outlets are wrong in what they're doing and why they should go over to these new media people. Again, it's not an us versus them. I want to make that very clear. Even though I'm talking about...
Video Game Dunkey is not saying us versus them either. He's just saying that these video game reviewers could do a better job at what they're doing. And he doesn't feel that they're doing a satisfactory job because they have it's a lot of miscommunication with it. There's a lot of disorder with these reviews and opinions between the staff of IGN. That's the fucking issue.
Both sides. It's not an us versus them, but I think it's wrong and disingenuous to use those reasons, or at least come up with those types of reasons for why one side is completely wrong without any legitimate criticism about them. Okay?
I see. That's why I still don't understand how Dunkey's review points were a reach, a stretch, or like made up or whatever. But with Almanoid, oh well, that makes sense, but it doesn't work for IGN. Why? He doesn't really explain why it doesn't work. He just says, well, it's wrong because they wrote the review and they upload the review, and it's their opinion, man. That's all that I'm getting from this video. 21 minutes, 15 minutes in, and it's just nothing but it's just an opinion, dude. Okay. Why are you getting upset at IGN for giving their opinion, man? It's like that's not the fucking point.
It's just crazy to me. So again, a couple more stuff I want to touch on because I know this is going a little bit long, but really the main big kind of like overview argument, an overview case I want to make here in this response vlog, or at least this vlog where I'm discussing all this, again, crazily enough, is that people are allowed to have different opinions. People are allowed to have different stances on video games, and that applies to every single entertainment medium out there. Games, movies, music, art, comics, whatever else you want to consider, okay? When I say art, I'm talking about like traditional art, like paintings, sculpture, etc. The list goes on and on.
Oh my god. This could have been 5 minutes long. This video could have been 5 minutes long.
There's nothing wrong with having a different opinion. There's nothing wrong with disagreeing with someone. There's nothing wrong with coming to a conclusion.
Look. 8 minutes long. Straight to the point. Like, let's watch a little
Sega
bit more
got this one right.
Sonic the Hedgehog 4, I think was pretty mediocre.
Sonic is good again?
Sonic was never good.
Dog game.
Super true.
Super detailed.
Sonic is awesome.
When you see a video from Pro Jared or Total Biscuit or Angry Joe, you know exactly whose point of view it's coming from. Now pick a review from IGN, you have just entered the fucking lottery. It's important to build an understanding between the critic and the viewer. Every review you do should feel like an extension of the last until your audience understands what kind of game.
See? He's getting to the point, I almost watched the entire video again because it's a good video. But fucking, this fucking guy, oh, well, I'm gonna just beat around the bush, repeat points over and over and over and over and over and over, and say that Dunkey is wrong because IGN has opinions, dude, and it can't be us versus them, because if it's us versus them, nobody wins, guys.
Conclusion that's different than another person out there, or another individual, or another entity, another outlet out there. But what I think is wrong is to condescend other outlets, or condescend a specific outlet, or a specific person.
But you're condescending Video Game Dunkey, a specific outlet, man. I mean, I don't know, dude.
For having that opinion, when again you're only basing that solely on the fact that their opinion is different than yours, and that's what I'm seeing.
That's not at all what he's basing it on. Oh my god, he didn't watch the fucking video. There's no way he watched the video. I'm sorry. He probably either skimmed it, saw like the first 2 minutes of it, and then said, "Okay, well, fuck this guy," and made a video. There's no way he understands the fucking point because it's none of this.
From Dunkey's video, Video Game Dunkey's video here now, but I'm seeing that from a lot of different places, not just on YouTube, not just on Twitch, and again, other streaming services, but all over the place. And this really needs to stop. This is the same thing that I was saying in my last vlog. I'm going to say it again here. This whole unfair perspective on games media, or just the industry as a whole, especially those that are professionals out there.
Yeah,
really
it's unfair for you to read a review from IGN and then say that the review sucks because of reasons that you have. Yeah, that's unfair. You should really just read the review and be like, that's a good review, just blindly not criticizing the review at all, not being critical of anything. Because that's just dumb. Dumb people do that. Don't be an idiot, guys.
Stop. It just seems like a lot of people are getting caught up on the hyperbole.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is.
How they feel about specific games, and because the other people are saying something different and completely on a different wavelength than them, that automatically they're wrong and they should be ostracized. They're not credible. This, and that. It's just stupid to me, and we really need to outgrow this. And not only just as a gaming community, but also as an industry as a whole. I don't personally, for me, again, as someone that is games media, again, like I've said before, I've written reviews for IGN. I've written reviews for other outlets, including Playboy, including the Coalition, Real Taco Gamer. I actually have another editorial coming out in Nintendo Switch Player Magazine very soon. I've talked about that in a couple of my other vlogs recently. But as someone that's gone through the process on both sides of this,
Plugs,
both on
plugs,
YouTube
plugs.
and writing out stuff here and there, or doing whatever else, it's just amazing to me that nobody really wants to come together to work together, to actually really start up a conversation, that it always has to be mudslinging on both sides. We really need to outgrow this as a community, especially on the media side of stuff, but even on the old media side of stuff, again, because everybody's just on.
Like the more this goes on, the worse it gets. Like, it's like he just took the worst parts of DSP's vlogs and just did that. Just took the worst parts and made that into a vlog, because, like, yeah, DSP it takes a long ass time to get to the fucking point, but he at least gets to the point and he actually throws something about it. He at least contributes something that makes the video at least somewhat worth your time. Like, there's some videos of his that is just a complete waste of time, sure, but like, you know, like his copyright strike vlog that he did, the emergency one. Yeah, the beginning was just a lot of nonsense, but he at least got to the point. Like, there's at least a point in that video. And this video is just nothing but mindless going around all over the place, saying, plugs his fucking outlets, saying, oh, it's just opinion, oh, it's us versus them, oh, don't listen to Dunkey. These nothing arguments that add nothing to the discussion at all. There's nothing here of value. 17 minutes and all I'm getting is just a fucking opinion. Oh my god.
Two opposing extremes, and it's just stupid to me. And
it's just
we're not
stupid to me. Yes, when you're a fucking journalist that gets paid to make fucking videos, when you use the term stupid or use the word stupid in a fucking video that I'm supposed to be taken seriously, just hang your journalist hat and just don't do journalism. Because journalism is a fucking a profession that is supposed to be taken seriously, and you're supposed to be very articulate with your fucking opinions. And to say stupid, it's like, it's kind of like, whatever. I mean, it's like if I'm writing an article for IGN or GameSpot or some respectable company, or if I'm associated with them and I start saying, well, you guys are fucking stupid, I'm not gonna sound that professional. He doesn't sound fucking professional. Well, whatever. I mean, maybe this channel is supposed to be more casual with his viewers, but it's so fucking painful to listen to.
Grow as an industry. We're not going to become something even greater and really take our entertainment medium to the utmost craziest awesome part it could be if we're getting so caught up on these menial and inane discrepancies and these inane kind of like conflicts. It's just dumb. Again, so with that being said, I know I might be repeating myself a little bit. I just wanted to throw this out there because after seeing Dunkey's video, I felt like it was very disingenuous. I felt like it was very unfair.
It was disingenuous, but the whole video was more like believable and genuine because he had nothing to lose. He wasn't making the video for someone. He wasn't making the video for anyone. He made it for himself. He wanted to share an opinion about the video games industry. This video is more disingenuous because he works for IGN, and he made constant plugs. He plugged his fucking IGN review. He plugged his Playboy article. He plugged his upcoming Nintendo Switch article. All of these things just outstandingly made me not believe that this video is genuine, because the fact that he kept plugging himself, saying like, well, I did videos for IGN and this and stuff, that immediately gives me like an ounce of suspicion, if not more, that this video is not genuine. He's making this video because he works for IGN and he doesn't want to lose that clout he has. That's why he made the video. He didn't make this video because he genuinely believes this. He made this video because he doesn't want to lose his power in IGN. He wants people to always come back to IGN and not question his reviews. He wants to keep that fucking popularity. There's no fucking reason for me to believe what he's saying is genuine. I don't believe for a second this is all genuine at all. So I really don't. I think it's hypocritical for him to call Dunkey disingenuous and all these things just while he has something to lose. He has a stake in IGN. So what would he gain if he were to criticize IGN? Nothing. So he has more to gain by defending IGN and kissing their ass than he does criticizing them or being critical of them. Not at all did he at all share any criticisms he may have with IGN because he doesn't want to lose his job. Nothing in this video comes off critical or genuine because He'd not at all level with any of these criticisms. He just kind of dismissed Dunkey's criticism. Didn't even talk about him. He didn't even talk about the criticisms. He only brought like 2 points out of the fucking video. In this fucking video. Get the fuck out of here.
In the way that it presented a lot of stuff. Again, like I'm looking at some of my points now that I didn't even really get to touch on.
You didn't talk
stuff
about
what is it? About again, I talked about some of the stuff about game journalists being paid off, which again, we should really get over this. Like that's been thrown around for the last couple of years, and it's stupid. There's no evidence of people actually getting paid off, and especially at some of the bigger outlets.
There's no evidence. Go to the when you see a fucking website that is flooded with advertisements for a particular game. Do you think that's just a coincidence?
But it seems to be a reason that everybody comes back to whenever they disagree with something. It's stupid. But again, some of the other stuff. What is it? Here's another thing, and this is where I'll kind of like end my point off. Besides what I talked about, the whole advertising thing that everybody goes back to with some of the websites. As someone that has done stuff for IGN and has actually talked with people there, including also talking to people at Kotaku, because I feel like everybody.
See what I mean? That this doesn't seem genuine to me because he keeps talking about how he works for IGN. Like, that's one of the things that I get from this video is that it's just an opinion. Video Game Dunkey doesn't know what he's talking about. He's disingenuous apparently. It's just an opinion, bro. And he works for IGN. Like, okay.
They give Steven Totillo, the editor-in-chief of Kotaku, so much nonsense for a lot of different things all over the place, especially because they were originally with Gawker. Advertising of a game has nothing to do with editorial. Just because there's advertisements on the website doesn't mean necessarily that all of a sudden that the review
who puts the ads on the website? Venomous Fat Man. I don't think the game publishers go to like these random websites and put their ads there. Okay, let's say that you make a website. Okay, you make a website, and you're like, you know what? I'm not making a lot of money. I need money to run it. What's the first thing you think of when you think you need money? Advertisements, because guess who pays for advertisement placements? Video game companies. And you know who else gets money as well? Because the thing about ads is that not only does the advertiser get the money, like the person who paid the website to put the ads there, but the guy who everyone makes money with ads. It's a great thing. That's why you see more and more ads online. That's why a lot of people hate them. Well, the consumer hates them. That's why a lot of consumers hate them, because it's like it's in the way. But when you run a website, ads are amazing. Because you get a lot of money from it. You get money from the person who pays you for the slot to put the ad. You get the money from people going to that site. You make the guy makes double money, and then the person who puts the advertising gets paid by that as well. They get a cut of everything. So yeah, that's why they go to ads. Venomous Fat Man, ads make money.
Their writing is compromised because they're two totally separate different departments.
Or at least suspect to compromise. That's why when you see Call of Duty get a 9 out of 10, you fucking question it.
Not only do they have to deal with that because of the FTC, but also within their own internal group, there's a lot of different ethics policies that prevent the two parts of that company or the two sides of those two departments.
They have ethics, but who's to say that they're gonna obey them? Yeah. Cops have ethics too. Everyone has ethics. Has ethical code. They have things to go by. But a lot of people get away with shit because money fucking talks.
Working together in order to put out quote unquote good coverage of the games that are being advertised on the website. Everybody goes back to this because all of a sudden, because there's ads of Call of Duty on IGN. And they have an IGN review that just happens to be like an 8.5 or a 9.0 out of 10, like that. Automatically, people are trying to connect the dots, saying that, oh, they're giving this game a good score because they want to stay good with the advertising dollars and all this other crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And that is definitely not the case.
Yeah, that's why you're making this video, Venomous Fat Man, because you love fucking IGN.
Everybody keeps saying that that's actually in the industry that has been around stuff like that, that's actually said like, listen, that is not the case whatsoever, and nobody wants to listen to them. No, and it's not just the people from those outlets, it's all over the place that have gone to different outlets that might even be outside of the industry on top of that. Look at Colin Moriarty's vlogs, all the times that he's actually talked about that. And he left IGN after 8 to 9 years working over there, and he never once experienced something like that. That's a guy that actually was the senior editor of the PlayStation content over at IGN. And he's even been saying that, and nobody's listening to us like that. But again, I know I'm going long.
Well, yeah,
I know
because
this is
you work for the company. Do you think the employees of a company is gonna start shit talking the company? The only person that would do that would be DSP, and he did do that. Remember what he did to Machinima? And guess what happened? Guess what happened once DSP stopped kissing their ass? He got the boot. He got fucking kicked because he gave them a fucking ultimatum. He talked shit to them, and that's what happens. Why do you think when Machinima is like, okay, Phil, we'll do whatever you say, that DSP starts subtly kissing their ass?
been kind of dragging on a little bit, but those are the types of things that I just wanted to throw out there. I just put my 2 cents into the ether and actually give you guys a different perspective on all the stuff that's being talked about right now. I think that a lot of people need to stop taking pop shots at some of the bigger outlets just because, especially just for views or just for attention and just for capitalizing on the fad. I think it's stupid. But either way, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Whether you're a video game Dunkey fan or not, you know, just put in the comment section below. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are.
I like how he says that, like, oh, let me know if you're a Dunkey fan, but in his fucking description, he says, don't be a Dunkey. So if I'm let's say I am a fan of video game Dunkey, okay? Let's say that I look at this video, look at the description, and I see this. Do you think I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, this guy? I'll listen to this guy. I'll be unbiased. No, because this right here kind of shows the bias that he kind of uses Dunkey as a not derogatory, but like in a negative way by saying, "Don't be a Dunkey." Like, okay.
Don't forget to leave a like on this video. Subscribe to the channel for all my videos.
7 people like this video. That's kind of pathetic.
Again, my vlogs, all my gaming related coverage, and a bunch of other cool stuff that I have here on the channel right now. So again, hopefully we get a good discussion going. Hopefully I give you guys some good food for thought, and I will talk to you guys again very soon. Peace out. Stay epic, everybody.
Peace out. Yeah, like that. Peace out. Yeah, man. That's cool. I mean, usually you do this, but he does it this way. Because that's how cool he is. Alright. That's it for this video right now. I was gonna do, he did a follow-up video, I was gonna do it in this video, but this video is really long, so I don't want it to be too long, so let's do the other one in another video. So, thank you guys for watching this one. See you in the next one.